Yeah.
I want the hand signals, but I don't. But this is my mood headed into this recap of UFC 287. There's a lot to get into here. I got nothing. Let's just get into this.
Yeah, let's go.
Serious business now. Let's get into this. RJ, how we feeling? Post fight.
Dude, I woke up this morning and the fights were fresh on the brain. Like it was, it's the first thing I thought about. It's just one of those nights of fights where you're like, holy shit, all of that really just went down. Crazy good time, man. We watched the fights together.
Yep.
For everybody that doesn't know, we got, our clique from the doghouse together. Shout out to our boy Manny. He's about to embark on a new journey in his life. So shout out to him. Much respect, brother. Love you. And also another shout out to one of our dogs, Brick Grip Conway, just had his baby.
Hey.
He just had his baby. So we got another little pup in the gang now. So shout out to them. Shout out to the stray dogs. I had a great time watching the fights, and I'm still bobbing with it. Almost 24 hours later.
Almost 24 hours later, I haven't stopped thinking about it. It's been on my mind since it ended. Arguably card of the year right now. I can't think of another card that's happened this year that has been, that was one of the most fun cards to watch in recent memory.
Well, and which is crazy to think about too, right? Because the cards have been pretty deep for the past few months. It felt almost like for a while we were getting spoiled, right? Like it felt like I think we had 2 pay-per-views in 1 month, which is like pretty rare, and a lot of it just felt like it was leading up to a big moment. This weekend, man, a lot of big moments.
A lot of big moments, some upsets, some, a lot of crazy things happened. Let's just get it started, I say.
Yeah, well, right off the top, because we just want to touch on it instead of getting too deep into it.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Robbie Lawler and Rory McDonald for getting their second fight put into the Hall of Fame. What a fight that was. Two unbelievable warriors, man. Like, that was both of them guys in their primes, both putting it on each other, like back and forth excitement, like that classic moment where Rory's all busted up and the whistle was at the end of the round, and Robbie like blows his bloody snot on the ground, and they just look at each other, man. It's so intense. That fight arguably changed Rory McDonald's entire career. And and Robbie Lawler, in my opinion, was probably the most exciting welterweight champion since, maybe BJ Penn or Matt Hughes. He's up there on my list of greats, and big respect, hats off to those guys.
Yeah, more than deserving. Did we ever have a doubt that was going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame? They deserve their own wing in there. So that fight was just iconic. Like you said, that 4th round stare down, that picture will forever be ingrained in my memory.
Yeah, it's like electric.
And that fight will never go away. We'll always be seeing it in highlights, and much respect, well deserved. Congratulations on a Hall of Fame fight. We're gonna probably make a video on that fight because it's that good, and we can make a video on it. So we just wanted to touch on it. I'm glad you brought it up. So that video will be coming. But now let's roll into UFC 287. There's a lot to unpack here. First off, what's a big moment here? I lost track. Oh, our Philly guy, Joe Body Bags Pyfer, getting the finish, looking good. Let's go, Philly. Stand up.
100%, man. That was a big test for him. First like real big name that he's got so far in his career. We couldn't say dude's name last week. Mere Shark.
I'm still not gonna try.
We're gonna get it, but I heard a lot of people saying it this week. It's easier than we were making it out to be, I think, but it's still a little bit of a tongue twister. But Gerald is an absolute animal, man. He's a good fighter. And Joe Body Bags Piper, man, just did his thing and put him away, bro. Like, Joe's here to stay. He made a big statement. I don't think he'll be on prelims for very much longer.
No. He's young, too. I didn't know he was only 26 years old. He's young in the game. He's 11-2, so he has pretty good experience. You know, he's getting up there, so hopefully to see him up, maybe a main card, maybe a main event on a fight night come in this forthcoming. But he looked great. I mean, he on the feet, caught the kick. I don't know if the left hook did it or the right hand following, but one of them started the onslaught and got the finish and looked really good doing it. Had a emotional post-fight interview that touched the heartstrings, just talking about his upcoming and his life. So you feel for him there. Very relatable.
Yeah.
Shout out Joe Body Bags.
Yeah, I mentioned a little bit in our pre-fight breakdown, like, he's definitely had a rough go at it. But one thing that's kept him centered all these years is training in martial arts. And when you put that much of yourself into something for that period of time, you know, and you have it in you to show up on the day that you need to show up, I'm happy for him, man. I'm really happy for him.
Yeah, just a great performance, well-deserved. Great way for the prelims to kick off. And to cap off the prelims, we had fight of the night between Chris Curtis and Kelvin Gastelum. Our boy KG, back on top, back in the win column.
Yeah, that one.
What a fight.
That was a great fight. And you're right, like, that one felt good. We talked about that in our pre-fight breakdown as well. Like, you know, a guy like that, he's so good, and he's just had some rough outings, you know what I mean? Some rough days at the office, and he came out so strong. Like, he looked like a young, hungry Kelvin Gastelum in there. Did his thing, man. And I got to give it to Chris Curtis, because
he looked phenomenal.
He looked incredible. And I remember thinking about the fight when I was breaking it down. I was like, Curtis has a round and a half to, like, get this done. It actually seemed like he picked up a little bit of pace in some moments later in the fight, because Kelvin started real strong. And then it was like, we were like, oh man, this is actually getting to be kind of a close fight. I wasn't really sure which way it was going to go. And, you know, they both looked great. What a fight. And, yeah.
Easy fight of the night for sure. I mean, the body work of Chris Curtis was otherworldly. That was my most impressive thing that I saw from that fight. And his pace, it looked like he was downloading some data in the first, so I gave Kelvin the first, but 2 and 3 were really up for grabs in my eyes.
Really close. Yeah.
Like razor thin.
Totally. And then Kelvin's interview in the octagon, man, like, you could, like,
he had an aura.
You can feel how excited and how happy he was and how relieved he was to, like, get back in the right spot. And he even mentioned, he's like I went through some, you know, mental process and just dug really deep throughout the past couple of years in his camp, through his injuries, and just like and got it done, man. Very happy to see Kelvin get a win and make a big statement like he did.
Back in the win column, and yeah, to your point, he really did. It felt like he had an aura around him in that post-fight interview, that it was just different. It was a different Kelvin Gastelum, for the better, for sure. And I'm excited to see where he goes. He's still a top dog in the game. After that win over Chris Curtis, who is another top dog, he's got to fight another killer, so we'll see who that is, because he's not going to be fighting any bums anytime soon.
As we've seen in his career, he only fights absolute monsters, you know, so.
Yeah, shout out Kelvin Gastelum, shout out Chris Curtis, well-deserved fight of the night. Capped off our prelims very nicely to get into our main card. And here we go with this main card. Starting it off, little bit of a surprise here. I mean, we all counted out Christian Rodriguez.
Well, I don't think we counted him out. I mean, but the hype and the momentum was certainly leaning towards Rosas, right? They both showed up to fight, and I'll tell you what, I think Rosas came out really strong. He relied heavy on the grappling. Was really working hard for those takedowns. For anybody who doesn't know, wrestling for 5 minutes is so much harder on your gas tank than striking for 5 minutes. And it saps a lot of energy out of you. He got him down eventually, got onto his back, and Rodriguez did what he had to do, man. He stayed composed. He did the proper defenses. Eventually, he stayed in the fight. Come the second round, you could notice Rosas was a little bit more gassed. He kept going to the wrestling, and I think he just completely gassed himself out. It might be a little bit of inexperience in the longer fights. It's like I'm not sure if he's gone the distance very much in his career.
I'm not sure.
If you're used to finishing people fast and then you run into a guy who you can't get out of there, it can be a problem. You know what I mean? So hats off to both guys. Rosas is still young. He can bounce back from this, not a problem. He'll learn a lot from this about how to kind of gauge and control his energy output. And but again, hats off to Rodriguez because he steals all that hype now. He took all that hype, put on a show, got the win on a huge pay-per-view card. People are gonna know who this guy is now, and he looked really good. And now he's finished. That must have been his 10th fight, and now he's got another finish. So it's off to the races for him as well.
Yeah, a contender has risen, and his name is Christian Rodriguez. Unfortunately, he missed weight, which has to be noted, but hopefully that was a one-off thing, and he'll be back to normal next fight. But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Nonetheless, he looked phenomenal. He took the hype train. He derailed it a little bit. And for everybody on Twitter and whatnot is just throwing Raul Rosas Jr. out the window like he's not 18 years old fighting in his second main card.
Right.
He's 18 years old. He has plenty of time to get his conditioning, get his mindset, get his strategies, and go 15 minutes, no problem. Because his pace is crazy. So if he pulls back on the pace a little bit, he'll be able to go 15 minutes like it's nothing.
Yeah, a little bit more controlled, and he's only going to learn and grow from these experiences. Like, all the best guys have losses for the most part, a couple outliers, but he's going to learn. He's got to learn. And again, I think even Dana White said it. It's like, that you took like a teenager and then you put him in there with somebody who's not over the hill, but has like that kind of that grown man strength.
Yeah.
A guy who's 25 is a bit different than a guy who dropped out of high school last year to pursue a career in martial arts. It's like, it's just a little bit different, man. Rosas is a kid, and he still is a legitimate fighter, and he's got a long career ahead of him. So
yeah, hats off to both of them. It was a great fight, a very entertaining fight in the grappling department. I'm excited to see where both of them go. Christian Rodriguez now is really in my radar.
Yeah.
They both are, but hats off to both of them. Great opening fight on the main card, which led us right into Kevin Holland and Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Oh,
Big
baby.
mouth Kevin Holland getting it done.
Yeah, that one felt good too for me, man. I'm a big Kevin Holland fan.
How do you feel about the immediate what do you want to call it, contesting of the stoppage by Ponzinibbio? He went face first into the canvas.
Yeah, he needs to watch that back and see what we all saw, because I think the last punch from Holland actually woke him back up.
I think so.
Nah, and I'm not trying to be like a jerk about it. Like,
Yeah.
he went face down, ass up, unconscious, and then he got hit again, and then it's like the referee's stopping the fight. And I think in those moments where it's like, oh, I'm in a fight, I got to keep fighting, and it's like, nah, dude, you were out cold for a couple seconds, and like, I just saved your life, and part of it too, sometimes these guys get knocked out and they want to make it seem like, no, I'm good. You stopped it early, to kind of like save some of their pride.
Is it?
But we all saw it, man. His eyes rolled back. He literally bounced his head off the mat, and that whole fight. Look, Collins looked so sharp, like he pretty much always does. He came out. He was controlling. Let's talk about how gigantic Kevin Holland looked.
Oh my God.
He looked like they were not in the same weight class. Like, and I
You
know
pointed
Holland,
that out when it was going on, and I didn't really like process it, and then I really took a look, and I was like, hold on a minute, what is going on?
Yeah, and we've seen Holland fight at 185 and hit 170 like with ease. Really, I mean, I'm not sure if he's ever missed weight, but he goes back and forth those two weight classes, and but Ponzinibbio is not like a small welterweight, and Holland looked gigantic in there next to him. Came out sharp, controlled basically the whole fight. It looked like he was keeping the pressure on, keeping the strikes coming, was landing heavy. Ponzinibbio had his moments too, but then that rifle from Kevin Holland just put him clean out, and it was beautiful. Love to see it. Kevin Holland's beast, bro. I love watching that guy fight. Let's get him another good matchup, please.
Yeah, because Kevin Holland's a fun fighter, but when you give him stylistic nightmares, he doesn't have a chance to show off his skills, because he's very talented, very skilled.
Yeah,
and just a fun fighter overall.
And imagine Kevin Holland, like, obviously the top of welterweight's very grappling heavy. He's going to have a hard time with any of those guys. But imagine a Kevin Holland and a Leon Edwards fight.
Yeah.
That's a great fight, man. I would pay to see that all day.
That's phenomenal.
I'd pay to see that all day long. Not saying he's going to get that, but that would be great. He calls out Masvidal in cage. Yeah, and obviously we saw what happened. We'll get into that, but
we'll get there.
That would have been interesting.
Would have been a great fight.
Especially because he also noted, I want the BMF belt. So if they put that on the line, that would have been a huge moment, It really would have been. People can say what they want about, like, the fake belt, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But, like, it makes it interesting, when there's
absolutely
something else on the line. Like, it makes it interesting. So I would have paid to see it,
Yeah, it just adds a new element of fun that, like, it hasn't been seen before. So why not just throw it up?
Throw it up.
Would have been a fun fight, but we'll get into that fight in a few.
Yeah.
We got one more to cover before that, though. Adrian Yanez and Rob Font, we both kind of have to, eat our words a little bit here. We both picked Adrian Yanez to win, and Rob Font went out there and finished him in, I think it was 3 minutes, maybe even less. So Rob Font, the Boston Cartel or something they're called?
New England Cartel.
Sorry.
No, it's a good same thing.
But what a fight it was for the few minutes that it lasted.
Such a short, like, I wish we got a full fight. Even if the same outcome, like, I would have just loved to see that longer. Both these guys came out of the gate like we knew they would, right? Neither one of these guys takes a backward step. They were in each other's faces. They stayed in the pocket the whole time. As you mentioned, I kind of saw it going. I saw the fight going the way that it went. I picked Yanez to find the openings and score the shots, but Rob Font got him early, got him in trouble, and lit him up. And yeah, I do feel like a little bad about being so firmly on the side of Adrian Yanez. I do. Because now it's like, now I feel silly ever counting out a guy like Rob Font, man. And I don't want to say I counted him out, because he's an amazing fighter. We can't give him enough props, but he looked incredible.
He looked great.
He put hands on Adrian Yanez like we've literally never seen before. Got him out of there early. I wish that fight was 15 minutes, 25 minutes, but he didn't need it. So
yeah,
hats off to Rob Font, man. He got it done. Stole some of that hype and now kept his spot. You know what I mean? Now, you know, I didn't realize how badly he really needed a win, you know, because he had lost to Aldo. He had lost to Cheeto. He needed some momentum again. You know what I mean? And I'm happy for the guy. He because Yanez is another one, young, you know, still has a great record. Like Yanez will be back. It's not like you lose one time and you're gonna retire. It's like Yanez will be back and he'll be in great fights. But Rob Font was that guy last night.
He was absolutely that guy. And I think, thinking back on the breakdown we did, I don't think we ever said that we're counting out Rob Font, just to be clear. I think we were, you know, just not caught up in the hype, but we both kind of saw the prospect in Adrian Yanez. But Rob Font showed that there's levels. There's levels to this, and he's still at the top of the game. He's probably going to be number 6 still because he was fighting down to number 12. Regardless, he still holds his spot at the top of the division. He's still one of the best. And it wasn't easy. Adrian Yanez was putting hands on Rob Font for sure.
First minute in, Rob Font's all moused up under his eyes. Like, he was getting touched. There's no doubt about it, you know. Adrian Yanez, if anything, it proves that he belongs here. But it's just the way that these guys fight. Such a dangerous way to fight, and just staying in the pocket and
it was bound to happen.
Having a gunfight, like one of these guys was going to go out, you know, and, you know, I can't, props to Rob Font, man. He was the guy still standing at the end of it, and he looked good, man. I can't wait to see what he does next. I'll be more excited about his fight if it's not against somebody that I really like. They keep giving Font these fighters, like, you know, it's like, I said this last time, I picked him to win against Cheeto. So it's like, I'm all on board with Rob Font. I just picked Yanez this time because I like the kid. He's young, he's exciting, he's a really great boxer. But Rob Font proved that he's the veteran, and he's going to keep his spot.
Yeah, what a fight. I mean, only got 3 minutes, which we've discussed multiple times already that we wish it was 15 minutes, but 3 minutes of fantastic fighting and high-level boxing that, you know, we'll remember. And both of these guys are still high prospects. The loss doesn't hurt Yanez too badly. He's going to come back. The win, obviously, is great for Rob Font, and a stacked bantamweight division. Anything can happen in that division. So I'm excited for the next matchups of both of them. We'll see where they go, but great fight.
Font called out Figueiredo. He said,
see, I was trying to think of who he called out. That would be I wouldn't be opposed. I would like it.
I like it, man. Bring him up. Figueiredo's a problem, and I'd love to see him fight at the higher weight class where he doesn't have to drain himself in the last couple weeks of his camp getting all that weight off. So I like it, you know, and it kind of makes sense because, you know, former champion moving up in weight, you're not going to give him like unranked guy, but you also don't want to give him like a top 5 guy. So Rob Font, number 6, that makes perfect sense.
Right in the middle.
Baby. Yeah, let's go. I like it.
Yeah, let's get that matchup going. I would love to see it, and that would be great. Just another contender in the bantamweight division. Not really what we need. Just
what we need, right? Yeah, for real.
Just keep them coming, I guess.
Hey, man. Hey, the best man win.
Great fight. Shout out to both of them. Boxing on another level. Not much more to say. Leads us right into our co-main event, which, you know, we said we were getting into, and here we go. Pretty dominant, I would say, by Gilbert Burns. Kind of just showed that he was on another level than Jorge Masvidal. Striking was on point. Grappling was on point. And we'll get into it later, but Gilbert made some accusations. I think you probably saw them, but we'll wait on that until we break this down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, just because you said it, I'll say it now. Like, and I've said this before, right? I don't like when people make excuses when they lose. I extra don't like it when you make excuses and you won. How can you're gonna be like, oh, this guy greased. I know he knows all the tricks. Dog, you took him down every time you tried to take him down.
4 for 4.
So like, what are you even saying? You know, someone asked him, oh, do you think you'd get the finish if he wasn't? He's like, oh yeah, totally. I don't know if I believe that, man. Masvidal is a vet, you know, even some of our homies, you know, that we watch the fights with, dogging on him. And it's like,
Dude,
Masvidal's a veteran, man. He's been fighting, you know, a really long time. He's been training at one of the best gyms in the world for a really long time. Let's not pretend like this guy doesn't know everything there is to know about fight, you know, especially a professional mixed martial arts fight. Like, this guy's a seasoned veteran. He just doesn't have it anymore like he used to, man. Like, you know, when he was on his run, he was getting crazy knockouts, starting to make a bunch of money, had the title opportunity, and just, you know, didn't quite get there. Burns looked like a truck, like he always does.
Yep.
Throwing power hands, power kicks, power takedowns. Everything this guy does is with bad intention. Burns looked amazing. That's why I don't like it when it's like, you're going to say that he used something. It's like, come on, man. You like basically dominated the entire fight.
Yeah.
If there's any round... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. I'm especially not a fan of him calling for greasing on Jorge Masvidal when he retired after the fight. He's not a fighter anymore.
Come on,
He's
man.
done. Like, you could have kept that to yourself,
and
but
they're in
that's just my
Miami.
personal opinion.
And they're
Yeah,
Miami.
I mean,
you saw how sweaty they were?
Miami is hot,
like, dude,
all year round.
Both of them were pouring sweat. Like, I just don't need that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you looked good, you dominated. If you could give George a round, it might be the first round. There wasn't a whole lot. It was close. There wasn't a whole lot. Big feeling out process. Gilbert did secure a takedown with like 5 seconds left at the end of the round.
Yeah.
We were talking about it live. It's like, I don't know if that gives him the round or if George had like a couple good body kicks and a couple nice punches. So, whatever. But the second and third were pretty clear, like dominant rounds for Gilbert Burns. Gilbert, you know, obviously looked good. And look, no one can say, oh, well, he should have destroyed him. First of all, Colby didn't destroy him. Usman,
not the first time.
Besides
that
punch, both of those fights were like, you know, even if one guy was winning, they was still competitive. So it's like, you know, no shade to Burns for not finishing him. A piece of me thinks he might have been able to, and almost, I don't want to say like he took the foot off the gas, felt bad, but it almost seemed like there were moments where he could have closed the show if he did his like King Kong, like smash finish, because we've seen him just go like nutty and just
go for it,
drop bombs on people until like the referee's forced to stop it. He didn't really do that. He kind of just like coasted once he had good positions. You know, maybe it was Vaseline.
Yeah, whatever. Who knows?
Whatever. He got the win. He looked good. Now he's calling out. He either said title shot. He called out Colby and Leon by name. So he said title shot or I'm out. Then somebody asked him, well, how would you fight Usman for a number one contender? And he said, yeah, because that's a fight I lost. I would love that one back. He said Chimaev, he would love that one back. But basically, Burns is drawing a line in the sand, and he's saying, if I don't get a number one contender fight or a title fight, let me go. I'm out of here. Which is, I thought was interesting.
I think it's fair. I mean, if you look at what he's done, who else is there at the top besides maybe Bilal, who doesn't have a fight scheduled? Well, as far as we know, doesn't have a fight scheduled. But I don't see much else for Gilbert right now than the top either title fight or one of those rematches. But that's just me. That's what I see.
No, I agree with you completely. The only thing is, I wish he was beating that drum a little earlier. because you can't really have it both ways. He said, "Oh, I'm the guy that always says yes." It's like, well, you are the guy that always says yes. So if they call you and you say yes, like that's really not anyone else's fault, right? It's like you're the guy that says yes. So they relied on you multiple times, taking fights. You always say yes, dude. And that's respect. Like that's a real fighter. A guy who's just like, I'll fight him. Like I love, what company wouldn't love to have Gilbert Burns on their roster, right? He'll fight anybody at any time. But you're the guy that fights anybody anytime, and then you're like, well, now I'm just saying, give me a title shot or I'm out of here. It's like, slow down a little bit. You just had a loss, then you got the win over Magny, then you got the win. It's like you're right there, but don't start making demands like like you're gonna leave the company. It's like you're more than likely gonna get someone in the top 5. You're more than likely next in line for, again, either a number 1 contenders fight or the title shot. He said he's going to show up and make weight when Colby fights Leon to be a backup fighter. So, and Dana was like, I'm in. That sounds good.
Yeah, he did. He said, yeah, I'm in.
He said, all right, cool, deal. So, there you have it. You might have your shot right there. See, this is where like sometimes making fights too soon can throw off the division, because now I almost wish that we got Burns versus Colby and Bilal versus Leon. Like that to me would have made perfect sense. But now you got Colby over here with Leon and you got Shavkat over here with Bilal. So now Burns is in this no man's land unless he fights Usman, which bad fight for him. Like it's
not a good matchup. It's really not.
It's not a great matchup for him. He said he was into it. I don't know if that would be the best. If I was his manager, I would probably tell him to stay away from that one.
Go weigh in for Leon Colby and be underway.
Yeah. But
I mean, that's what Colby did. Colby showed the blueprint of what you have to do. You kind of just, weasel your way into a weigh-in for the title fight, and you get a title, and you get the shot next.
You also have to be a draw. Colby has that on his side. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Colby brings eyeballs. Excuse me. He brings attention. So when you have that, when you're coming with all of that, then being a backup for the main event, like, cool, you're next in line. Not everybody's going to get that treatment. Bilal certainly, it doesn't seem like he would get that. Yeah, it's like he's not getting that treatment, Bilal, I'm sure, could make weight tomorrow if he told him he had to, but so we're just going to have to see what happens in this division. I'm all for letting Gilbert have a run at a title. He could be a champion. He deserves it 100%. But if you just beat the guy that literally retired in the cage,
Yeah. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in this whole story of 170, and we've already gave our piece in a full video. I think it was like a 30-minute video talking about the welterweights.
Yeah.
But this win, great win for Gilbert. Just opens up more questions for the division. I don't know where it's going to go. We're talking hypotheticals here. Where do I think it's going to go? I don't have a clue, because it's all based on what Dana wants at the end of the day and what decision, him and his team, obviously.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see what happens between Shavkat, Bilal, Colby, and Leon. Once those fights kind of play out, we'll have a better idea of like how we can match up the rest of the division. But those are all the guys jammed at the top right now. So Shavkat kind of like, everybody was like, don't rush him. And now he's in a number 1 contender.
Now he's here.
It's like, wait, like a second ago, nobody wanted him to fight Hamzat because he wasn't ready. But now he's going to fight Bilal, who's arguably the number 1 contender. So it kind of doesn't make any sense to me. But, we'll see where that goes. And Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't really have much, honestly. I'm kind of, this whole division is just flustering. There's so many things you can do, and it's just, there's a lot going on. And I mean, the best man is going to rise at the end of the day.
Yeah, and we got to talk about the division having one less one less guy in it, man.
Yeah, Jorge Masvidal.
He took the gloves off, and I tell you what, I would have liked to see him go out on a win. I would have liked to see him get close to that title picture again. But as we've seen in people's careers, when you get close and then you start having these consecutive losses, it really only usually, there's some outliers, but it usually only gets worse from here. And for him to take the gloves off in Miami, where he's from, and to go out in a fight where he got dominated, but he didn't get like beat up.
Didn't get killed. Like,
he didn't get knocked out. He didn't get submitted, put to sleep. Like, I'm okay with him going out this way, with his pride and integrity intact, and just like, dude, he made a ton of money. He made a splash, a permanent mark on the sport, and I'm happy for him. I am. Because those are the guys you don't want to just see him get knocked out 7 times in a row and then retire. It's like, you hate to see that when these fighters don't know when to quit. So I'm happy. It's a little concerning that he talked about retirement before the fight.
Yeah, that's never good.
That's how you kind of know he's got one foot out the door. And he's like, well, let me see if I can go do it. Let me see if I can go get a championship. And it's like, dude, if you're not in it 100%, like Gilbert Burns is not going to let you take his spot. You know? So, peace out, Masvidal. It's been a hell of a good time watching.
Been a ride.
It's been a hell of a good time watching you fight, and respect, man, because game bred, Jorge Masvidal is a legend.
The BMF, it's just bittersweet because on one hand you're like, I don't want to see him retire. I don't want to see Jorge go, because you love watching him fight. He's a big draw, very talented. 50 fights in his career. And then on the other hand, 50 plus. On the other hand, it's like, as you said, I can't sit here and watch him get knocked out 3 more times before he calls it quits. So at least he acknowledged that, he kind of doesn't have that edge to keep up with these top dogs anymore. But it's also a sad thing to see, because him saying that is a test to how long he's been in the game. I think 2 decades, maybe more than that. But started in Miami, ended in Miami. Great career, an icon of the game. Shout out Jorge Masvidal. Still the BMF champ, never put. He's still the champ.
Sure is. Is that the last fight he won? I think it is. But
but I mean, he's going out. What is he going out? 0 in his last 4. But then you look at who he's fought. Stylistic nightmares. Gilbert, Kamaru twice, and Colby. Are you kidding me? For a striker to get those 4 in your last 4? I mean, he fought the best. Only the best.
Yeah, and look at the rest of his career. I mean, he's been fighting the best for a long time. So, it is sad to see, only for selfish fan reasons.
Yep.
It's like, it's selfish for us to be like, oh, it's kind of sad. It's like, no, it's actually like awesome. He had his kids there. He didn't get embarrassed. He just got to walk home, and I'm proud of him for and he could always come back, you know what I mean, if he feels good. But I think he's 38 years old. Like, I'm happy to see him peacefully.
He's got his things going on outside as well. He's got the game bred boxing and whatnot, so he's set. It's not like he's got bills to pay. I think he's doing pretty good.
I would say he's I mean,
so
let's talk about this real quick and forget everybody's political feelings. Donald Trump watched that man's last fight. And
that was crazy.
That's kind of funny, man. And we all know how Masvidal, I mean, look, dude, Masvidal's family's from Cuba. If you don't know your history, it's like the Cubans aren't very fond of, I don't want to get too much into political stuff, but he's pretty known to be a conservative guy. And for him to go out in front of Trump, in front of Kid Rock and
what
Mike
a table
Tyson,
that is,
dude. Mike Tyson, Kid Rock, Donald Trump and Dana White are all sitting front row to see your retirement fight, like, that's kind of cool, man. I don't care
That's a
who you are.
lineup right there.
That's kind of cool.
Yes, I mean, he's going out high. He's not going out on a low. Even though he's going out a loss, I would say he's going out head held high and on his shield. So
that's about as good as it can be, considering it's a loss.
Yeah. So, shout out Jorge Masvidal for everything you've done for the MMA world. Enjoy retirement. Whatever you decide to do, stay out of trouble. Try and stay out of trouble. Don't cause too much controversy. But
be a coach. You would probably be a really good coach.
Yes, he would probably be a great coach. But on that note, shout out Jorge Masvidal. Enjoy retirement. Unfortunately, that retirement led us into this main event, which, we went sad, but then we got right back into it. And you know how that main event went.
Yo.
You know how that main event went. There's never a doubt. Never a doubt.
I didn't doubt him. I was with you, Look, I'm rocking my dog off a leash shirt because Israel's a dog off a leash in this fight, man. Shout out to Josh Medina for designing this dope ass shirt. That's our boy too.
I mean, this main event, man. First, Izzy. Let's just talk about Izzy for a little bit because obviously he's the man of the hour. From the walkout, you could see he was visibly intense, visibly angry. He was on another level of just energy that we have not seen from him. Contender Izzy is a mythical fighter. I'm convinced he's a mythical fighter.
You hit the nail on the head.
I got nothing.
You hit the nail on the head. Like, just from the moment he walked out, like, you can see in his face, like, I'm not dancing, I'm not having a good time, like, I'm ready to go to war. Like, he was so intense and just, like, ready for a fight. Man, oh man. And then Pierre comes out and you're like, dude, that guy's made of stone too. Like, both of them, like, my palms were sweating, my heart's beating out of my chest.
My heart was out of my chest.
I was like, this is like a real deal. And everybody who disrespected Adesanya, man, like, that's how, sometimes when people become champions and they have long reigns, they get less exciting. It happens literally to, like, every single champion.
Yeah.
Anderson Silva, when he fought the grappler, I can't remember right now. Damian Maia. Dana wanted to, like, fire him after that fight. He was like, he's like, if you could kill this guy, you go and kill him. You just danced around him. Like, George St. Pierre, towards the end of his career, everybody's like, oh, he's boring. He's a decisionator. Like, you just, like, at a certain point, you just know how to win. And you don't have to take big risks, and you just, like, go in there and get the job done and go home with your belt. Like, so I don't really, like, shame him for that, but it seemed like having the losses, everybody mocking him, he got, like, TKO'd in the octagon, which is his house. It's like he wasn't playing around this time. Izzy came out, man, and right out the rip just started, like, piecing them up, like,
he was foot on the pedal. I mean, in that entire first MMA fight they had, he basically had back on the cage the entire fight. This time around, he did not have back on the cage pretty much at all until what he says he wanted to have his back on the cage for that. He was playing possum a little bit.
It's interesting that you bring that up, right? Because as soon as I was done watching the fights, I left, right? And I called one of my homies who's a big MMA fan, and I had missed a call from him, like, immediately after the fight. I called him up. He said, bro, Izzy got that read in the last fight. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, the whole last fight, he's against the cage, like, taking big shots. And he's like, I think he saw that when Alex has you hurt or backed up, he starts getting a little sloppier, letting his guard down. And it was almost kind of weird because the whole time, Izzy's moving forward, piecing him up. And then it looked like he kind of did this thing where he was like, oh, I don't know if I'm hurt.
I'm hurt.
He
Yeah.
backed up and he shelled a little bit. And then it was like, pink, right on your temple. And as soon as Alex kind of did this thing, it was that sniper rifle. Bang.
It was over. Dude,
Right.
2 minutes left in the round. Alex was not surviving that one.
Second one right to the temple, put him out cold, dropped Thor's hammer right on his jaw.
That hammer fist had anger and everything on it from the last 10 years of their rivalry.
What did he say? I got him frozen like Elsa.
He said that in the Cannoneer build-up, and he's just stuck with it. Hasn't ran away from it, so gotta respect it.
That was cold.
Dude, what else is cold? That has to be one of the coldest finishes into celebrations I've ever seen.
The 3
Hammer
arrows
fist from hell. 3 arrows for the 3 losses, and then he broke the bow on the 4th one over his knee. So, like, the 4th arrow didn't make it, and, dude, like, how can you not just sit there and be so happy? Well, at least for me, because I'm a fan. I know all the haters are having a rough night, but...
they're all quiet today, but I'll tell you what. And he looks right at the kid. Right down. Only the guys who remember everything will know that reference. He points at the kid, Pereira's kid, and he goes, yo, your father, right? Boom. And he drops out and stiffens up because the kid did that to Izzy after he first got knocked out in the kickboxing match. So now you see your dad just rigor mortis on the cage. Izzy's dancing for minutes. Dude, Alex didn't know where he was for minutes.
Alex has never been KO'd. He's never been put out like that. He's been TKO'd, but never like that.
Yeah, he was out for a hot second. And what did Izzy call it? The phantom punch? He was already knocked out. He's like, I probably didn't have to go for it, but he said, I owe it to the... It was the right thing to do. I just had to seal that, He was
like, Alex would have not held back on me.
He would have done it right.
Yeah, so
he would have done
fair
it.
game.
All fair play, man. And then Izzy goes, I love when everybody's like, oh, well, now you're 3-1 or 1-1. What do you want to call it? He goes, man, I don't keep score. I settle score.
Yeah.
It's like, and he. Did you watch his post-fight press conference?
I watched most of it. I missed, I think, the later part.
Dude, at the end of it, he literally drops the mic, finishes his drink, and then shatters the cup. like on the table. What a boss move.
Dude, he was a superstar before, but now after what he just did, he is a mega star in the world. I mean, everybody knows him now.
He's been that guy, man.
But I think this one really elevated.
Yeah, because the sport's growing, and anytime you get hate like the way he did for the last 2 camps that he did, it's going to elevate you because more people are talking about it. They see you, and everybody's always so quick to say, oh, that guy wasn't really a good champion and this guy's the killer. So now when you shut everybody up like that, it's like, damn, man, who's next for this guy? And we've talked about this off air.
Who is next?
Who is next, bro? Because he already beat everybody. So it's like, my opinion is Alex, Dana White even said this, Alex probably going to go to 205.
That cut is too much.
I really doubt he ever wants to sit in a sauna for 2 months straight again to make that weight. He could go get the Jiris and the
Jamal Hill
and Jamal Hills. You could go have, those are fun fights, man. You don't have to cut all the weight. Go be a problem in someone else's story.
Get revenge for Glover.
Yeah, there's a storyline up there for you. Izzy, back at home with his crown, and the only people, I looked it up briefly, the only people he hasn't faced and beaten is Duplessis, who's been winning, can't really say he's been looking like that good, but
And he almost got put out by a Derek Brunson.
But he's finding ways to win. So like you can't like, if he wins, he wins. It's like he won. So good for him. He would get smoked by Izzy.
I don't like his chances at all.
Yeah, like he would get smoked. Izzy even said it's funny because he talked about him, but he didn't say his name.
He didn't want to give his name. Yeah, he literally was like, giving him the clout.
He's like, I'm not even going to talk about that guy, but I'll do it in South Africa. And that's when I was like, oh, shit.
That'd be final. That'd be phenomenal. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Israel's born African, you know what I mean? A South African. It's like, that would be a huge fight, man. UFC's trying to get to Africa. I would like to see it. I mean, there's really not that much out there for Izzy, bro. Somebody is going to have to come up quick, sort of like Alex did. They're going to have to knock out a couple guys real quick, look good.
And Izzy's going to have to call him out. Like, Izzy's going to have to be the one to give it to him.
Yes, he's going to say, I like that guy. He's been looking good. Let's get it on and make a big deal and, create some buzz around it. And then, as long as people are talking about it, the UFC will do it. They need stuff for Izzy. Like, they need people. He said he's got less than 20 fights, and everybody was like, dude, that's a lot. He's like, I'd fight 20 times in a year if I could. And I believe him, but, he doesn't want to do this for the rest of his life. There's not a whole lot more for him to prove.
There really isn't.
I'm going to say this now. This is me looking into my crystal ball. If those two ever fight again, it'll be at 205.
That's a fair assessment, and I 100% agree. I think Alex goes up now. Probably, I mean, it's going to be close fights with either Jiri or Jamal. Those will be great fights. So saying he wins those and he becomes 205 champ, and Izzy keeps winning at 185 and he clears out more of his division, what's left at 85? You might as well go for the trilogy and double champ again.
Exactly. I mean, that's part of the story that makes more, like, I don't want to see it right now. I really don't. Like,
it's just it's been too much for us too quick. Like, they've gone back to back. Like, let's break it up a little bit.
And we saw this with Figueiredo and Moreno. It's like, if you just keep doing it, it's like you kind of lose interest. Like, it's like, all right, tell me who won. Like, it's like you don't even really care as much. So I'd love that storyline if it happened down the road in another weight class for another belt. Like, that would be kind of interesting. Right now, you got Duplessis coming up. What's
Hamzat? I mean, Hamzat, what do we do with Hamzat?
Dude, if Hamzat wins his next fight, it's either, I think it's either going to be,
I think it's Costa.
It's going to be either Costa or Robert Whittaker.
Yeah.
If he gets one of those guys and wins, that's your next title challenger.
No denying it.
No, you'd have to. If Hamzat can actually get through one of those guys, he's next. So,
but right now, like, they're trying to fast track Hamzat a little bit. Well, actually, I should rephrase that. The media is trying to fast track Hamzat, and he's trying to fast track himself. His last win at 185 is against Gerald. I'm not even going to try.
Mearshart.
Yeah. Which, no disrespect to Gerald Mearshart, but it's not a Rob Whittaker or a Paulo Costa that he's beat. So he's a welterweight. He's a welterweight fighting at middleweight. So let's beat a Robert Whittaker or Paulo Costa before we talk about getting Izzy.
Agreed.
But I just don't agree with the Hamzat callouts right now.
Agreed. And and that's to say he does get through those guys. Those are both very hard matchups.
Robert Whittaker is a brutal matchup for anybody, much less Hamzat.
Yeah, and so is
Costa.
So is Costa, dude. Costa's like a beast, man. He hits hard. He's got grappling.
He's a big boy.
Like, he's a big dude. So it's going to be
big old Brazilian.
So much harder for Hamzat to just throw him around like he does welterweights. And I could see if Costa gets that win, I could see Costa getting another shot at Izzy too.
I could see it. I just don't see that first fight. I don't see that. I don't see the second fight between them going much different than the first one.
Well, remember he was like, "Oh, I drank a bottle of wine so I could sleep."
Please.
And they woke me up early to piss test me, and
It's ridiculous.
that wasn't. I know. I don't trust. I don't like excuses, but he had a laundry list of reasons why he didn't show up in that fight.
He better get a new laundry list for the next one.
And they've been jawing at each other ever since then. They still have beef. You know, it's not really settled. So I could see that happening again. He's only got one win over him. What do you do with Bobby Knuckles? Is my question. Because Bobby Knuckles is the best fighter in the world who's not a champion. It's like he's already got the 2 losses, so
it's just hard to promote when you're 0-2.
Yeah, he's in the worst spot. Like he's in the far worst spot, I think.
Yeah, he
beats pretty much everybody. Spot. Yeah, what do you do? I'd almost like to see Bobby Knuckles go back to 1-7 and make some noise there.
He could reign there for sure against the onslaught of grapplers, probably. Takedown defense out the wazoo for Bobby Knuckles. I mean, we also got this just came in my head when I said takedown defense. We got Bo Nickel coming up, so he's fighting at 290. So saying he gets a big win over, I think Gore he's fighting. Say he gets a big win there. He'll be within the top 15, so maybe they could fast track him a little bit.
But he's already come out and said that he doesn't really want the fast track. Like he wants.
But there might not be other options.
I know. But he said he wants to fight 2 or 3 times a year for the next 2 or 3 years. So that would put him at 15 or 20 pro fights, or less than that. But it would give him quite a bit more experience if he got a 9 or 10 fights in the next couple of years. And if he looks really good in all those, then he would absolutely, without a doubt, get a title shot. Do I think he would look amazing against the top guys right now? Yes, I do. But he doesn't really have that high-level experience in a cage fight where if he gets into trouble, we haven't really seen him in any trouble. So, it's almost better to, see that and figure it out before you get to your Whitakers and your Izzies, you know?
Pretty much all the stars, future champions, have that one fight where it's the bump in the peak, if you will. Not their peak, but the peak of, all right, they're legit, they're the contender,
where
they're for real.
It pushes you into that,
it elevates you, yeah.
Yes.
Like Conor and Chad Mendez, I would say that was the one for Conor where it really put him up. Izzy was Gastelum. That one's easy to think about.
Where you see what they're made of.
Yeah.
You know, where you actually see them tested. It's not like they're just walking through people. It's like you actually had to stand up to adversity and dig deep and find a way to get through it and win. Most fighters, get those fights usually before they're champions.
Yeah.
unless you're like John Jones, because then it would probably be Gustafsson, Yeah. But
middleweights, man, is just, there's a lot going on. Middleweights, welterweights, it's never ends.
It's funny, right? Because it's the opposite problem. At welterweight, you have
there's too many.
You have 5 number 1 contenders. But at 185, it's you kind of have none.
There is nobody for Izzy right now. There's just nobody besides Alex. But if we're saying he's going to 205, then he's just not there anymore.
Well, and by contract, as far as I know, I could be wrong on this, but as far as I know, by contract, UFC champions have 1 year to defend the title or give it up. So Izzy could kind of just hang out until he sees something that he likes. And then he'll get on Twitter and Instagram, start talking shit to whoever, and that fight will get made. It's like you said, he'll call a shot. He'll probably get whatever he wants. But it's going to take somebody to do something outstanding.
That's not Izzy. We know who he is. He's gonna look for something probably pretty soon, especially because he didn't take too much damage in this one. So I'm assuming he's gonna want to come back maybe in the summer, probably not International Fight Week. That's probably too quick. But I'm assuming he's not gonna want to sit around. So it might be.
Who's he gonna fight?
Might get Duplessis.
He
Might get Duplessis.
I think he said he wants to see him do something good though. Like he's been winning, but he's probably going to have to get another win. So that's going to at least put us, say it's 3 or 4 months until Duplessis gets matched up again. If he wins and doesn't get hurt, it's at least another 3 or 4 months after that.
Right.
We're talking 8, 9, 10 months before that fight could even happen if Izzy wants him to get another win. Otherwise, just set it right now. Set it for 3 months from now and make that fight. But I don't know if they're just gonna. I don't know if they could just do that. Especially after this. This was one of the highest grossing pay-per-view cards ever. So apparently the Live Gate beat MSG.
Yeah, so Dana said that, right?
That's huge. So to go from that to fighting the number 11 guy who barely made it.
I think he's top 10 now.
Probably now after Brunson, but he kind of barely got through his last couple fights, found the way to win, but it wasn't clean. So
it's not the highlight reel knockout that's going to get you that title shot.
Not against Izzy when he's already cleared out
everybody
the
twice.
Whole yard. Yeah, but I'm that was all the technical shit. Let me just say how happy I am to see him. Because I'd said it before, bro. I took all that shit personal.
Me too.
It made me so mad to see Pereira disrespect Izzy, making fun of him in the videos, talking all kinds of crazy. The fans even got behind it, oh, he knocked you out. You're, this guy's just a better fighter. It's no, man, he's really not. I said from day one, Izzy's the better fighter. He just keeps getting caught, for whatever reason. Alex hits like a freaking Brazilian Amazonian truck. And but this time he didn't get that shot off and he got put out. It just made me really happy. That was one of those moments that's up there with Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor, and Holly Holm, Ronda Rousey. Those were moments where I was crazy that it even happened, but just so happy for the person who won. That was crazy.
I mean, Izzy, ever since I've been a fan of Izzy, which is back in his kickboxing days, which I'm proud to say I was a fan of Izzy before it was cool to be a fan of Izzy. And I've been riding with him for years now. This one was I stood up, we looked at each other when it happened, and I was staring at the screen like this for a good 3 minutes. Just taking it all in.
Soaking it, yeah.
It felt like my own family member just won that fight. Izzy is my guy always. And that was just a great moment overall. I lost my train of thought. Pick me up. I lost my train of thought, but yeah, that was just a great moment.
Yeah, Izzy, it made me happy to see it, man. He settled it. They even seemed to kind of squash the beef, shake hands afterward, outside
backstage.
The cage. Yeah, and you could see in Alex's face, when, this is what's so crazy, because everybody says that Izzy's the cocky and brash guy, but he's pretty humble. He talks a lot and he says some stuff, but win or lose, he's usually pretty cool about it.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, Alex was acting like a bull. He's like, oh, I beat you up. I'm the boogeyman. I'm gonna come chase you around throughout your career and remind you of that time that I embarrassed you and try to get under your skin and take what you got. So after Izzy returned the knockout, you can see that sense of humility in Alex's face where he's he was forced to respect Izzy. He said, and he said after all the other fights, I respect you, but it's a lot different when you're I just whooped your ass, but I respect you. It's different when you got your ass whooped and you got to be damn dude, you fucking got me. So I can't say that you're a bum because you just put me unconscious.
Yeah. Hey, it's hard to say that when you go out gold.
Yeah, it's So respect to both these guys. I'm happy it's over. I'm happy Izzy got the win. I'll say it a million times.
One of the greatest rivalries in combat sports, really. It's been ongoing for years. And I mean, this is most likely the last chapter in it. There might be one down the road. Who knows what's going to happen with this matchmaking and where everybody goes. But if this is the end, it was really a phenomenal combat sports rivalry through two different sports. So, what a fight. What a card. I mean, I'm glad we just did this because I was thinking about it all day, ready to do this breakdown, ready to do this recap. There's not much more for me to say. I mean, got all my feelings out, got everything, got all my thoughts out.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm good.
Yeah, this whole card was pretty satisfying. The only one that, actually very satisfying, we were pretty close on all of our picks. The only one that broke me a little bit was Yanez, because I just would have loved to see what happens if he got shot to the top of the division. But everything else that happened, man, like, it just was one of those cards that, like, made me feel good overall, like, real excited. Can't wait to see what comes after this.
Shit. What are we? Yeah, it's gonna be interesting for all these guys. Can't wait. I think, what is it? 288 is next. That's Newark, right? Henry Cejudo, Aljo. So that's what we got coming up in a few weeks. Next week is Max Holloway and Arnold Allen. There we are. We did a breakdown on that. That'll be up this week. And then I think after that, we got some heavyweights. Who do we have? I don't know. I think we got some heavyweights. I'll look back, but still got some fun fights going down the line.
Yeah, keep an eye out for our Conor McGregor video. We did
just
we
finished.
did like a little respect to Conor video because this month marked his 10 years in the UFC. So we wanted to just kind of talk about him and recap his career a little bit because, I mean, he transcended the sport. So watch out for that video as well.
That'll be up this week. This will be up. This will be the first one up. I'm going to get this one up as quickly as possible. This, Max Holloway, Arnold Allen, and Conor McGregor, up this week. So you guys are loaded with the content. We're here making it for you. I'm having a blast. Probably because Izzy just won, but regardless, nonetheless, I'm having a blast doing this. I think you are too. I mean, we talk about it all the time. There's not much more on my end for me to say. Just, if you guys enjoy, obviously, let us know how you thought 287 went, if your picks won, if your picks lost. And we'll be back for more videos, obviously. We're not going anywhere. RJ, you got anything to take us out?
Much love, y'all. Thank you for listening. I'm out.
We'll see you. Peace.